Hello, this is Jim Riggio. Today is October 15th. It's a little bit before 10 a.m. and this is reviewing of my Kevlar trade. Put this on at the beginning of the week. I gave you a quick update. Not much has changed here. I just wanted everybody to end up seeing this where we are. Two parts of the Kevlar, if you remember. The first part is the broken wing iron condor, 75-point wing short call wing, 100-point short put wing. We've come back because of the low delta. I had to end up using calls. Remember, we used SPY calls. We used one SPY call for one condor. Because the SPX is 10 times the size of the SPY, what I did was I just put in 0.1 so that you could see this all in one graph on Thinkorswim. You could end up doing this and using instead of doing it all in the same, you can end up taking a look at and breaking it down, looking across your entire portfolio if this is the only thing you have in the account. Since I had other things, I just thought this was an easier way to end up showing it to you. But when we end up having to use a call that was closer to the money, we end up suffering more on our theta. You can see here that just on the iron condor, I have a 10 theta. But if I take a look here, I'll have almost -4 of it on the call. So I am giving away roughly 40%, a little bit less than 40% of my theta on here. We've been fluctuating right now with the market. It had spiked up, it spiked back down, so you'll see my P&L will move. The charts that I ended up posting, they were about +8 before the dollars, before the market started to move a lot. That's where we were. Remember, as volatility goes up, we will end up actually having our P&L come down somewhat. We're in the middle of this, so there's really nothing to end up doing. One of the things that I'll show you that I end up doing often is that I like to end up knowing where my pieces are and what it would cost if I end up getting out. So a lot of times I will just end up having an opposite trade, leave it open, unclick it, so I can see, okay, I sold it for 67.70. It's currently trading at 67.05. Next thing I end up taking a look at is the expiration graph. Is nice because a lot of people like to look at it, but what I really much prefer and I think is much more accurate is taking a look at the number of day steps. I start with 17. Remember, this is a December trade. If you're not sure how far that is, a quick way to end up going is it'll end up always showing you here that there's 64 days left in December. So there's 64 days left on this trade. One of the ways that I'll end up taking a look at my different pieces. If I end up coming back to the risk profile, once I end up using day steps 4, it defaults to 7. I'll end up always clicking it up or down later in the trade if so need be, so that it goes one day past 17 and then I'll bring it back down to 16. So now we're looking at 4 different steps. You can see the dates over here. So you see today's date, which is the 15th, and then each successive date going down in color, they'll end up adding 16 days. And there's the P&L. By the way, you see as I move if I move my cursor, you see the actual P&L change. Couple of things to end up noticing on this, because I know that a lot of people have talked about sometimes the Thinkorswim graph, okay, will not show you what you really end up having. If we move down, because implied volatility will go up, what will end up happening is that our graph, our daily graph, will actually move further away from the expiration. So let me show you, go back to expiration for a second. So if we jump down suddenly, and by the way, you saw this in this video before when we had jumped down suddenly, you saw it go down to -$60, $65. What will end up happening is that the T+0 line, the pink line, today's line, will actually move further away from the expiration graph. So what will end up happening is that we'll end up losing more money here than you would end up expecting to off of this graph. When you've traded a long time, you'll end up getting a feel for that, and you'll know. That's why I end up liking to leave my deltas relatively flat, maybe a little bit negative. We have pulled back a little bit, so I think that we're in very reasonable shape. There's not going to be anything that I'm going to be doing to this graph unless we have a significant move. If I start to plan anything, I'll end up updating you guys. Otherwise, what I'll end up doing is that I'll give you at least 2 updates a week to show you where we are. Any questions, have them come in. Tom Lenamaker is also watching this trade, so one of us will end up getting to you if you have any questions. So that was pretty much it. Thanks, and have a good day.